If you want to be an agent of chaos, assume everything. You don't need other people's perspectives. But if you want to be better in conflict and an overall better coworker, sometimes a little bit of curiosity will go a really long way. There is a particularly funny episode of this TV show called Parks and Recreation where the character Ron Swanson intentionally incites chaos. He says, as the leader of the office, that people are getting a little too chummy. So what does he do? He intentionally calls people by the wrong name. He will pin people against each other by saying something is broken and he saw someone do it and sit back and enjoy the chaos. And he will also act aloof when very direct and very reasonable questions are brought his way. And I thought to myself, wow, that is hilarious for a sitcom. And then the more I thought about it, I realized that I've seen some people unintentionally navigate conflict the same way in real life. IRL, in 4D. And I'm sure that you have seen people navigate conflict this way as well. If you want to be an agent of chaos, and if you want to break trust, and if you want to show up like the hilarious Ron Swanson, you can do these 3 things. But if you want to be someone who's a little bit more cognizant when conflict finds you, because it absolutely will, you can do the opposite of these 3 things. My name is Adrianna Munoz. I am a professional speaker. I do keynotes and lead workshops on navigating interpersonal conflict at work. My background is operational healthcare leadership and ER nursing. I'm actually still an ER nurse. I love it. And it also helps me keep my conflict navigation skills very sharp because the ER is tough, and I have the opportunity to meet tons of new people every single time I work and help them navigate what is sometimes the worst day of their lives, and I love it. And I want to bring my skills, my failures, my learnings to you so your learning curve on conflict is a little bit less steep than mine. If you want to be an agent of chaos, here are the 3 things you are going to do. 1, you are going to assume you know everything. 2, you are going to show people that you are not listening. And 3, you are going to avoid the tension altogether. To start, if you want to be an agent of chaos, if you want to break people's trust, you're going to assume that you know everything. Your thought process is going to be, I already knew that. Why do I need to talk to people? I know everything. I don't need to look anything up. I don't need to research things. I don't need to clarify. I don't need to circle back. I don't need to have a conversation. And this is a very dramatic example. But sometimes people tell themselves a narrative that maybe isn't that dramatic, but they don't even realize they're thinking it. This could sound like, I already knew what this person was thinking. I know why they did that here. When in reality, if you just talk to the person to get a clarity around an issue, a lot of times I would argue we'll be pleasantly surprised. Of course, people are malicious sometimes. But I think the vast majority of times people are pretty cool, and I don't think they want to themselves break trust or create conflict. But if you want to be like Ron Swanson, go for it. Tell yourself you know everything. Don't engage in a conversation. Think, I already know why they did that. If we talk about it, I'm going to tell them why they did that, and I'm going to make sure that I get really defensive when we talk about it. If you want to reduce that assumption, I encourage you to step into a curious mindset. When you realize that you're holding on to a belief about something or someone in particular, just quickly take a breath or do whatever you can to pull yourself out of that negative headspace. And this requires you getting to know your body cues pretty closely. So for me, I notice at the moment my heart rate picks up, my thinking gets a little cloudy and I feel my blood pressure going up and I start to feel that anger. I know that's a time to take a deep breath and step back. And maybe a deep breath doesn't work for you. Think about something that makes you happy. So for me, I have a picture of spam calls on my phone. Doesn't always help. I'm sure you get them too. But a beautiful hike that I've been on. Maybe you have a picture of your dog or your kids or something you did recently that makes you happy. Or sometimes I've seen people wear little fidget jewelry to like recenter themselves. So whatever you can do to pull yourself out of that headspace the moment you realize you're starting to get escalated or make assumptions, and then step into a space of curiosity. Here's the really cool thing about curiosity, and I plan on making a so many more videos about curiosity because it really is the antidote for a lot of tougher type of conflicts, especially in team settings. Curiosity pulls from a different part of your brain where rational thinking exists. Absolutely, emotions can still live there. I'm not saying that someone can't feel simultaneously angry and curious, but to be really curious, it pulls from a different part of your brain where you're stepping into critical thinking and a more analytical mindset. So it turns from, wow, this person is just so silly. Why would they do that? To, I wonder what happened here. I wonder what I'm missing. If you want to be an agent of chaos, assume everything. You don't need other people's perspectives. But if you want to be better in conflict and an overall better coworker, sometimes a little bit of curiosity will go a really long way. 2, don't pay attention. You could be like Ron Swanson, crossed arms, standing in the corner. Hilarious for a sitcom. In real life, probably not so great. But if you want to show someone really that you're not listening, cross your arms, don't even face them. All of a sudden, the ceiling becomes tremendously exciting, or the floor, everywhere but the person that's right in front of you. If you want to be chaotic, stare at your phone. Stare at your phone. Who needs real people when you have a screen right in front of you? Perfect way to get people to tap out of the conversation or get them feeling some sort of way really quickly. Now, if you want to show someone that you're listening to make those conversations a little bit more psychologically safe, build trust, and hopefully have a more productive disagreement, here are a few things that I personally look out for. I love when people fully face me. This is something I do for all of my ER patients that come in. I will fully face them. They have my attention while I'm in the room. If I have to take out my work phone, I'll say, please excuse me, this is a work phone. And I'm fully facing them. I am making eye contact in a way that feels comfortable for me. And my body is actually facing the person. If I can, I'll sit down next to the bed. I'll be at eye level with them. I also will try to relax my body language, even if the situation is very, very tense. And human nature, we're guarding, shoulders are going up to our ears. Maybe we are holding our hands very tightly. So I will encourage you to relax your shoulders and just open your posture a little bit more. That shows people that you're really engaged in the conversation, maybe a little head nod. Show people that you are hearing what they're saying. But if you want to be an agent of chaos, don't do any of that. Find the ceiling really interesting. Whip out your phone. If you want to have a good conversation, show people that you're listening. A little bit of attention will go a really long way. Last up, if you want to be an agent of chaos, if you want to break trust, avoid that tension altogether. You know that little office drama that maybe you have a hand in? Don't do anything. If you are a boss and you notice your coworkers or your employees, if you notice people not getting along, just hope it goes away. You're an agent of chaos. You want to show people that you see tension, but you don't do anything about it. Take it from someone who used to physically avoid conflict very early in the career. I physically hid in a closet one time. That doesn't work, but you are trying to be chaotic. So lean in. If you don't want to be chaotic, if you want to show people that you care about their psychological safety, if you want to show people that you can lean into those tough conversational spaces, the moment you notice tension, if you are in a position to say something, a quick, hey, I think we're seeing things differently. Can we talk about this? Or a quick, I'm sensing a little bit of frustration. Do you mind if we take a step back and have a conversation about how we're seeing things? That will go a long way to prevent the issue from escalating and turning into something that will become much, much more emotional. Maybe the conflict will get bigger and it'll be even more difficult to manage. To recap, if you are someone who is looking to be better at navigating conflict, don't avoid tension. Do be curious and do show people that you're listening. I understand that conflict is really hard, especially when it stems from personality disputes where people don't get along. Maybe it's egos or people hold ideas as very personal. And these are really challenging conversations. But navigating conflict with intentionality is a skill. And if I could learn it as someone who once physically hid in a closet, you absolutely can learn it just with a little bit of intentionality and learning to sit in that discomfort. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I check all of the comments below, and I would love to know your thoughts on navigating conflict, because I know this is a really big topic and something that we all navigate, because to have conflict is to be human. But the good thing is, when it's navigated well, that is when connection happens. Until next time.